Where are you from?
I'm from Colorado, which is in the
Colorado?
United States. Yeah.
Yeah, Colorado.
Yeah,
like-
right in the center of the United States.
So what area of English do you teach? Like
Conversational English.
conversational?
Speaking, yeah.
Is there any like universal mistakes that Korean students make in terms of maybe pronunciation or expressions?
I think it's more to do with like the nuance of words. What I mean, for example, like
Yeah.
play and hang out. I know a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
Koreans say, "Oh, I played with my friends,"
Oh, I see.
but
Yeah.
playing is something that children do when they spend time together, or when you participate in a game or sports,
Yeah.
right? So the more natural way to be to say, "Let's hang out," or "I hung out with my friend."
One of the common mistakes is absolutely worrying about making mistakes.
Worrying about making mistakes.
They have to get over that. The phrase take a rest.
Right.
What did you do this weekend? Oh, I took a rest. And grammatically, by grammar rules, it's completely correct.
Yep.
It's just,
You
we
wouldn't
never
really-
use it.
Yeah,
we never use it.
You wouldn't really say
The
that.
only person that would say take a rest would be a doctor
Right.
telling their patient,
Right.
you need to take a rest. And that's one of the most common things that I am constantly correcting.
There's little ones that come up quite often, like saying take a rest.
Oh, take a rest.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very interesting because
yeah.
the teacher who was just before
Yeah.
here, she said take a rest.
Those are small issues, and yeah, it's good to know that that's not usually said. If they say it, everyone understands you.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I think maybe a larger problem that I'm seeing is when people try to use too many words.
Too many ones.
And so I think there's this at least idea with some people that using more words, using bigger words, and using complicated words
Yeah,
makes you
yeah.
sound smart, polite, and natural. But
Definitely
it
agree.
doesn't happen with any of those three. Everyday situations and with most business, it's better to keep your sentences simple,
Simple.
to the point, and not using words that most people wouldn't understand or couldn't understand.
I think maybe articles like using the and yeah, and when to use them is usually the problem.
How about like some like common pronunciation mistakes?
Always L and R
L
is
and R.
difficult. Sometimes the Z sound.
Yeah.
They tend to pronounce it as like a J sound.
What usually happens is they have a huge will to learn English, but they don't even know like where to start. What tip would you give to someone who's just starting out?
Start with what you're interested in. I did research myself on the importance of fun and entertainment and enjoyment while learning.
Right.
And it's been proven that if you're not enjoying it, you're not learning anything.
Yeah.
And so, you know, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to learn in that English, or in that language rather?
Right. So, first of all, it's very easy to be to become discouraged.
Discouraged.
Yeah, they become discouraged very easily
Yeah.
because usually it's very easy to hit a wall, right? To hit a wall very early, but just keep using English. Think of the benefits. As the world becomes more globalized, there's a lot of benefits. So I feel as though motivation is one of the biggest issues that students run into.
I would say, you know, try and listen to as many English, you know, videos, TV shows, you name it, as possible, and try to, you know, immediately get yourself out there and meet new people and meet native speakers and and just have fun. English shouldn't be a chore, right? So
Yes, they like Korean students. They think of it as like very stressful.
right, yeah. So no, it should not be stressful. I think if you make it fun and if you make it just about like making friends and having conversations, I think that makes it a little bit easier.
Along with my own advice, it's also the hardest advice, and that is use. Even if you only know 3 words, use those 3 words, and then tomorrow, use 4 words. Yeah, and so that is the most important thing to do is use.
I would actually tell my students to converse with one another, like in the same classroom in English. But what they would say was like, but we don't know when we make mistakes. Like, how are we supposed to speak to each other if we don't know when we make mistakes? Like, that would be their reaction.
Yeah. What I would say to that is, do you understand each other? And most of the time they'd say yes. And I would say that's exactly what language is. Language, although we have rules about grammar, structure, whatever, the only reason for language is to understand another person.
Yes.
And so yes, maybe you're making mistakes, and we work on that later as you and I talk, or as you talk to another person, or as you study more.
Having the opportunity to talk English with foreigners is the best way to learn English, but some of them don't have the resources. Like, they don't know any foreign friends, or so what if they don't have that opportunity, what would be like the second best option for them?
Maybe, I know like online there's lots of like meetup opportunities and whatnot, and to kind of, like, I know even in Seoul there's like Korean meetups, for example, so if I wanted to practice speaking Korean, then I could do that. Language exchange. Yeah, those are good because it doesn't cost any money and both parties are benefiting, so yeah, I would recommend doing something like that. You have to be a bit brave, but...
In that kind of environment, I really like personally, because I study Korean, but I study by myself.
I see.
I just watch and listen to as many things as possible. Again, I do try to use English. I mean, use Korean.
Use Korean.
But find interactive ways of learning. You know, like whether it's through games or, you know, like interactive videos, things like that.
Yeah.
I feel as though just learning from a book doesn't, it helps, but to a point.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely a limit, like a barrier that people run into.
I also think learning through like videos or like actual people like conversing in TV dramas, that's the best way. But some of them say they can't understand a single bit. Like, you know, they watch like a 1 minute of Breaking Bad, they can't understand anything.
Right.
So do you have any tips?
If students are running into that problem, I like to try and dissect the section of like a TV show or a movie, you know, like really break it down. Like you talked about Breaking Bad. So I'll just take a phrase out of Breaking Bad, repeat the phrase, like listen to it over again until you've got it down. What
skills should Korean students like focus on if they want to be able to converse with foreigners?
Oh, that's a good question. Things such as, like, you look tired.
You look tired.
Right, because in Western countries, that's actually quite rude, right? But in Korea, Koreans are just showing like worry or concern.
Oh yeah, that's
right. So there are some like common misunderstandings like that.
Yeah.
So it's always good to kind of either research cultural differences or, you know, if you're unsure, then like ask the person you're speaking with. I feel as though that's a very good thing to do.
Most of my viewers, I think they're very interested in English because they took that extra step to look for like English videos and found my channel. Do you have any things to say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, don't be afraid to talk to native speakers. 80-90% of the time, all we want to do is understand you, is converse with you, talk with you, and learn about your culture, your food. I mean, we're just as interested as you are as well. And so I would say, don't be afraid. We're not judging you. As a teacher, I am trained to find mistakes. As a native speaker, I don't see or hear those mistakes. I just hear what you mean. And so don't be afraid if you make a mistake. You don't have to be perfect. Like I said just before, as long as we understand, then the goal is complete. Yeah. So that would be my advice and my final remark. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, John.
Absolutely. I was